invite friends to watch. Okay. Been doing this on her page because all this is a lot going on. Hello, hello, Ellen. How are you? It's Mo. I'm just out and about downtown Cincinnati. I'm waiting for Pastor Tamala Lucas to come online so I can speak with her. We're going to be talking about there. She said wants to join. Okay, so that's how you do it. Look, ask him. She should be joining me. Not this time I've been spelling your name wrong. Hello. Look, she is bringing me into the 21st century because I don't know nothing about all this part. But I will hand it over to you. And I hope it does not get too crazy with the noise. I didn't think we would have as much traffic where I am, but I'm right here in downtown Cincinnati. Yeah. Look.
Yeah, God is good. When it comes to the church and it comes to life and suicide, the church has to learn how to work with everybody, regardless who they are, what their culture is. And sometimes we get so caught up in, oh, you don't look like me, so I can't talk to you. And I know when I was growing up, it was do what I say, and that's it. No one was allowed to ask questions. You just did what your leaders told you to do and obey, and they will use that scripture, obey those who got rule over you. And so you never ask. So then a lot of people, as the years went by, a lot of people got resentment, and it got to the point they stopped going to the church, and they start blaming God for what man's shortcomings. But God has nothing to do with that. One thing about God, he loves all of us because he created us. Every single one of us are wonderfully and beautifully made by God. So God did this. He knew what we was going to look like, how tall, short, light, dark, the language. He knew everything. He molded us. He's like, this is how my baby gonna look. You know what I'm saying? Hallelujah. So when we go through things, sometimes you don't know somebody's going through something until they say, or you actually see it, and you say, oh my God, that child got a winter coat on and it's 200 degrees outside. Like, what happened? They lost their mind. So where is the church at in that? And sometimes some people will say, well, if they had listened to God, they would not have lost their mind and stuff like that. But let's get to the root of it. And let's start helping people, because one thing I have learned over the years, many people, whether they're in church or not, glory be to God, we all have issues. Rather,
yes.
Know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah, we all have issues, whether we want to acknowledge them or not, but we all need help. So when we get to the point where we don't want to help somebody, then it becomes a danger zone, you know. And lately I've been talking about this. A lot of people don't want me to. I don't care. But lately, a lot of leaders, a lot of pastors have been committing suicide because we have been trained to, be seen and don't talk. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of people got issues going on, but it's good that you can go get some help.
Yes. Absolutely. And you're right. And a lot of people, well, no, I'm pretty honest. If you have more than a 5-minute conversation with me, probably you've heard, about me being in ministry before. I am licensed, I'm ordained, all that good stuff. But, I have been away from the church for years. And just because the church hurt, like you said, just, but still loving God, still having a relationship with God, but just, he's been graced to still be with me and allow me this time and space. That's my mom joining and watching. Hi, Mom. Cherie Phillips out there. But like you said, it was a lot of things as far as suicide in the church. I remember, like, even before I found myself like just backing away. Like I hadn't done anything wrong, but I remember coming to my pastor at the time and I was like, Bishop, I'm having some problems. I want to step down. I can't teach Sunday school right now. I need some time because I'm funny. I'm not going to handle the word like that in that way. And I know something is not right. Something is not lining up. And it was not a focus of where let me sit down with you, let's talk, let's see what's going on, see how we can try to make this better or work through. Because I've gone through a lot of things. I am a domestic violence survivor. I'm a sexual trauma survivor as well. So I was still dealing with a lot of stuff, and people expect you to be a certain way. And I remember him saying, but you have people that can't even read that understand your Sunday school lesson, and you need to do. It was all about we need you, you need to do. And it was this assumption that I was just supposed to put that all behind me because there was a need. So mental health in the church just really, it's a divide. But a lot more pastors I am seeing, churches are becoming more trauma informed. They're realizing that, and we're not saying there's not power in God. We know that there's power, the absolute power. But we are still living in the flesh. We still have things that we have to deal with. And, we may need to be in counseling. We may need to be on medication for mental health problems and depression and things like that. Until the deliverance is manifested and it's proven, you got to do what you got to do. I mean, even in the Bible, what happened? After you were cleaned of leprosy, you go back and you show yourself to the priest. I taught somebody that same way with your doctor. You can go back to the doctor and stay in communication and see, okay, are things better? Am I better? Can I start weaning myself off of medications? Can I stop counseling? Can I, there's a way to go about it. But the main thing is just awareness. Like we spend a lot of time creating this crystal clear suicide prevention program, and it's mainly for the schools, but we realized that it was a need for a wraparound service. And hello, Jessica, she is part of the team as well. She's with Break Chains, Make Changes, based out of Toledo, but they are here. They do awesome work with young men and boys and just people in general. I mean, that's their mission, but they do a lot. And they have been doing a lot of good work here in Cincinnati. But we realize, as we talk about mental health and things and get in and talk to the kids and try to prevent suicide, we needed to bring the whole family into this. So it is a 2.5-hour workshop where we literally for 1 hour and 15 minutes, we split up the students along with the parents and the caregivers, and there's intense training. So there's 2 workshops going on at the exact same time. And we'll get into our topics and everything that we're talking about. And then we wanted to bring the family unit back together and have everybody in the same room and be able to go through for another 1 hour and 15 minutes and really process through this, because it's a lot of things that we do. Even I'm realizing, I've had children that struggle with suicide ideation. It was a lot of things that I was doing and saying that wasn't helping the situation. Not that I was, being negative, but sometimes you can be too positive.
Yeah.
And you're just not listening. You're not processing. It's easy to say, well, we're going to pray. It's going to be okay. It's going to be all right. And you do it so quickly, it's automatically like a reaction to where you're not even willing to slow down and validate and just listen to what a person is telling you and what they're going through. So that's why it's important to me. But I know you have questions for me. Go here right ahead. I get the floor to you.
When it comes to your company, your business, and your group, and your team, and all that, let's say someone in the church needs the help. They come to you. So do they use their Medicaid or you have a payment plan?
No. So we are we started as Regal Rhythms Poetry, which is a for-profit only. Now we are Arts Equity Collective as well. That's our nonprofit arm. We do have mental health trainings, but the only one that's able to do that type of where you're talking about billing and all of that, that would be Victoria Cipriani. She is a licensed social worker. It's a company that she works through. So you can contact me and I can connect you to services. And we can connect you. That's what we are. We're more of a bridge. But what we do is, as artists, you know, we have at least 2 people on our team that are peer recovery supporters, which means you've gone through the county training. Um, it takes you about 40 hours probably to do the part on your own, and then 40 hours has to be in class for that certificate. You have to have some type of lived experience, either with mental health or with substance abuse. So you have to have a lived experience coming in to even do it and even go there into some of the stuff that we'll be talking about. But you become certified as that. We have people who are mental health first aid responders like myself. So as we're showing that, even though a lot of people think, oh, I'm just a poet, I sing, I'm a songstress, I'm this and that. You can do so much with your platform and with your gift if you figure out what is your higher calling, what is your purpose. Not to say I couldn't have just been spitting poems about suicide, but I had to realize if I'm going to really be talking about what I'm talking about, then I need to have some official training in this area. So a lot of people, in like 80% of our entire team, just by chance, I won't say by chance, by God ordaining and bringing us together, we have some mental health professional training involved. And we have the lived experience. A lot of us, we've lost people to suicide. Yeah. We have struggled with suicide ideation ourselves. So, and then a lot of times people just don't feel comfortable going to their church for help. It's okay to step outside of that realm and to be able to get help. You know, it really is. I've tried the counseling through the church. I'm sure somewhere there's perfect counseling that will work through the church. I'm not here to bash that either. But there are other options to kind of distance yourself so you don't have to feel like everybody right there in church knows all of my business. I have another avenue to be able to have a voice and voice my concerns and not be so tied to the ministry.
Yeah, this is good because I talk about this all the time. I think the first time I talked about this was 2019, right before the COVID shutdown, because my cousins was missing. And when they found her, she took her life. She was 16 years old, dealing with mental issues. And I said, that's the problem. We tell people, you're going to be all right. You're going to go over there, pray, you're going to be all right. Now she's gone, you know, because we push people to the side and we tell them, you're going to be all right. What is the root? What is the cause? Can I talk about it? Right. Why are you throwing me to the side and tell me be quiet? So we have to get to the root of things, and that's what's wrong. Well, a lot of people want you to just be quiet, just keep on moving and be quiet. Well, we got to talk about it, and
we do,
and so we can peel the onions off and reach that person and say, okay, I got you, because kicking people to the curb is not working.
It's not. I remember, just on a personal note, I remember being in church, and I was very, you know, just like I work even in business, I was in the church as well, like super focused, doing a lot, missionary, you know, always serving, always doing and feeding the homeless. But I remember this one particular time, one particular time, I'm sitting there and I'm caught up, I'm in worship, you know, I came in mind on God, like, I got it, this is personal. But it was somebody that stood up and was like, I decided, and this is a church full of 1,000 people. She said, I decided if nobody spoke to me today, I was going to end it. I was going to. Now, I wouldn't have even thought that would be possible, that there could be 1,000 people literally in a place, in a sanctuary where we're there to meet God, and she's experienced not even really being greeted and talked to and loved on. But sometimes we made our relationship so personal that we're no earthly good. We can't really be used in that arena to be able to help somebody, to be like, I understand. Listen, I don't have it all together. I'm honest. I don't have it all together. I can tell you what's up. But at the same time, it's love. How did he say he would know his disciples? By what? And that's what we don't teach enough of, is the love and the character. And that's why a lot of people are hurting. And the pandemic really did it, because if, I'm a person, being at home for real, that didn't bother me out like that. Mine was more trying to navigate through, I don't want to lose my life. I don't want to get COVID and there's people dying. And that anxiety that came about because of the pandemic. But being at home wasn't hard for me. And then I have my mother, she was right there. And then I have children. But a lot of people were shut off from everybody. And then once you shut down, it's hard to start navigating. You're talking about, and it wasn't just like a week. We did this for what, 2-3 years for real? It was hard to come back out and start talking to people again and start interacting. So, and the lasting mental health effect, we're not going to know for years. It takes researchers so long to get that data to start really calculating, before we'll even hear numbers. It'll probably be at least another 2 or 3 years before we really see the full impact. But it changed us mentally and emotionally and spiritually. So, as well as physically. So, yeah, it's important.
It really has. And a lot of churches that closed down never did open back up. So a lot of people took that as a reason to not go back to church. So now they walk it around here like, oh well.
Yeah.
So you see a lot of empty buildings now.
Mm-hmm.
But even at that, I'm trying to teach people, when I do get on here every Sunday and preach, I'm trying to teach them, have a relationship with God. Spend time with God, fast and pray, read your word, get close to God, get that word in you so God can give you strength and he can, send you help. We got to, and like you said, love. Sometimes if you walk down the street, you probably don't even know the person, but a smile will change a person's life.
Yeah.
There were times I woke up, I was so mad and so upset, and then I would go somewhere and a little baby would wave or smile at me. That baby don't know me, but I said, look at God, because God will just keep on reminding you, I love you, I got you. And
yes.
And we got to learn how to just take time out and say, I'm there for you. You don't have to know the person.
Mm-hmm.
And ma'am, I know you don't know me, but may I give you a hug?
Yes.
And I had gave so many people a hug, they just start crying because they just want to know somebody loves them.
Mm-hmm.
So that.
One of our members, Demontre, the poet, Demontre Lewis, he was talking to me today. He's a bus driver. And he was saying how, there was a time where this lady got on the bus and she just talking to him the whole way. Just he was enjoying the conversation. And when he ended, when she got off, she was like, thank you. I just needed someone to talk to. And I was so surprised. I was like, wow, we don't even think that some people, they come out the house or they're walking. They may not be able to talk to their family. They may not even feel heard in church or wherever they are. They may not feel heard and validated on a job. So just you interacting with them could change everything, could really help them just feel noticed and all of that. But it's important because even when we're looking, I know when I first started doing the suicide prevention, just planning with the team and going through like different statistics and stuff, and I will post some on this link that you can see later. But I wanted to not only focus on those who have completed suicide, is how they like to say it now. It's not just committing, because committing implies a crime. You're saying like I committed a robbery or I committed a theft or I committed a rape. No, you're completing suicide. For every one person that does, 275 people in that year, they also attempted. So there's so many people that, there's so that are going to the hospital that are saying that they're having suicide ideation, and especially in the schools, and then navigating. It might not be your child. You might be like, well, this doesn't really apply to my child. Well, our program also looks at what if your child is around other kids that have suicide ideation. How do you navigate through that? How do you get enough information that you need to be able to tell the school counselors or tell the principal, like, this, my friend is really is really serious about suicide. You know, they mention a gun at home, or they mention something, and I want to be able to report it. So we had to think about all different components, and we it's been awesome. We've worked together more on this than anything. Like, it just is a day to day looking at it, making sure that when we roll out and we start appearing in these schools to do it, that it is well thought out and just, yeah, it's really good.
And I'm glad you all doing this. I'm glad people are actually paying attention to this, because when I was in the ninth grade, I went to Seton over there in Price Hill, and I sat by this girl, didn't know her history. Everybody knew her history. I didn't. That was my first year there. Sat by her, try to get her to laugh, but she was always sad, and I would try to get her to laugh and get. And those who know me know I love to have fun,
You do.
and so one day she took her life, and when I woke up that morning, I said, "Ma, I don't want to go to school." My mom said, "You better go to school." I didn't know all this was going on, but I felt it before I got to the school building. I just felt it. I was in the ninth grade, and everybody was crying. And I said, "What happened? What happened?" And that was my first time experiencing something like that. And being an educator from 1990 to 2019, dealing with children from
Mm.
little bitty babies all the way to 12th grade. I um I went to probably 3 or 4 funerals of children that's in elementary, not high school. We talking about elementary. Like, every year the children were getting younger and younger. And I said, my Lord, they don't even know that they haven't even experienced life yet. Like, you 8 and 9 years old, you taking your life. And when it got to that point, they said another child said, I can't do this. I can't go to another funeral. I can't. I know I'm an educator. I know I'm supposed to support the parents, but I can't do it. I said, I don't want to see another child laying in a casket. I can't do it. And they said, okay, I understand. And all I could do is pray. So what I was doing, before you can go in my classroom, you had to give me a hug. And a lot of them, these children get mad. I don't care what age they were. I was like, you cannot come in my room until you give me a hug. Some had attitude. They was mad, but I didn't care. I was like, you going to give me a hug before you come in my classroom. And I would do that the first 2 months when school started. Then the third month, I wouldn't hug them. I just see who going to hug me. And then the fourth month, because half of them will hug me in the third month. And then the fourth month, they all will start hugging me because they realized I was there to love on them. And that's what we got to do. We got to show them that we still care.
Yes, absolutely. And just from sitting in on a lot of mental health conferences and getting educated, one of the things they said is, if you think about a brain of a young person, their brain is not fully developed like ours is. They literally, their reasoning and everything, and being able to think like, okay, today is just horrible, but I'm gonna get through today. I'll be able to, move past that. They don't have that processing. So that's why things are so immediate and they're quick. Okay, I'm being bullied today. Okay. Or I've been bullied all this time. My parents have tried to come up here. The school's not doing what they need to do, maybe to protect me, or the school has tried and it's still not working. And they just get fed up and say, I can't do anything else. I'm going to go ahead and commit suicide. Or, it may be, and there's been situations where we really don't know what it was. The communication was so off that nothing was communicated. A reason was not even picked up as a red flag to say, well, this child is dealing with clinical depression, or this child was being bullied, or this child, something is going on at home, or maybe nothing. So that's what the Crystal Clear Suicide Prevention Program is. We are opening more and more doors of communication. So we go into verbal communication, we go into nonverbal communication. I honestly believe with all my heart, God gave me an invention. It is a nonverbal communication tool that is to be used daily. That if parents and kids just would start using it and commit to it, which we have you sign a pledge at the end of our workshop, and we actually give that as part of our workshops to them. Once that happens, it's a way of constantly checking in and allowing yourself to do mental health check-ins with yourself. Because a lot of times we don't even, when's the last time somebody asked you like, hey, Pastor Lucas, are you okay? Are you mentally, feel like you mentally where you need to be? I mean,
right.
and we don't, that's not how we really interact.
Mm-hmm.
We think about everyone else and what we have to do, and I got to go to school, and they may be working, or and this is just not for kids either. I mean, this could be church organizations, private organizations. Our requirement is you just have to have 20 or more people in the building, any makeup. If you have part kids, part adults, that's fine. If it's kids only or just adults only, we can do it that way as well. But it's so important that we're teaching people to recognize themselves. That's
Yeah.
why, and a lot of churches don't understand when you start talking about, I'm gonna do a grounding exercise, and it sounds like witchcraft. A lot of times what people are trying to do is bring more awareness of where we are, making ourselves be in the present and paying attention. We don't use grounding exercises in our particular workshop, but the check-in is the same way. It's bringing you into the present, allowing yourself to be honest about how do you feel right now. And if you can't do that verbally, which we really go hard on teaching you techniques for verbal communication, then the nonverbal is right there to help. And hi, Kathy. She is part of the board. We appreciate you so much. Heroes Are Forever is her nonprofit. She does a lot of work in the community. But we have so many partners that are coming on, and I'm just constantly getting calls like, what can I do? How can I help? How can I assist? So it's good.
And it's good you asked that question, because a lot of people will dismiss that. You say, how are you doing, Pastor? A lot of people don't ask that question, and they should, because last year, if anybody saw my video, I got on there, I said, I'm not doing well, because I said, my husband's family lost 11 people. 11 people. Rather, they was murdered, some died from overdose, and some just dropped dead. And I said, my husband is over here about to lose his mind. And I said, and here I am, I'm trying my best, to hold him up. And I said, I'm supposed to be the strong one, and sometimes we just forget. We all are humans. I don't care who we are, what kind of position we got. We still got hearts, we got feelings, we are humans.
Yes.
We still go through things. So we have to be honest and get help.
Mm-hmm. It's important. We've used that blanket statement. I can't complain. Too blessed to be stressed. What's some of the other ones we learned to say? Faith sometimes don't. Faith is awesome. And my mom, if she's still on, I grew up with seeing a person whose faith is tremendous. Is like, you really, you gonna believe him for but sometimes in a way, it gets in the way with our honesty. It's like I can say right now, my back is hurt. Everyone know, I have autoimmune issues. It's not a discount against God. It's not an attack or anything, or saying his power is not real. That's my thorn in the side. That's something that right now I'm dealing with. But I still believe I'm going to be healed from that. So yeah, we have to watch what we do. We talk about all that. Faith perpetuates a lot of the stigmas and stuff about suicide. I saw somebody post and say that they were upset. They felt like the person that committed suicide was a coward. And probably a couple of years ago, I wouldn't have been as aware or impacted by that comment. But it really touched me. It moved me, because as we were sitting down and creating this program, we started talking about some of the reasons why. And if I feel like I'm a burden on my family for any reason, and I'm saying I want to remove that burden, I feel like I'm a burden to my mom or dad. They're out here working, they have to try to provide for me. So I'm going to commit suicide, or because of my mental health problems, it's too much. It's not manageable. So I'm going to do this. Coward doesn't fit in with that.
That's right.
It really doesn't. We have to look at this thing from the spiritual level and the natural level, like, and deal with what's going on in the natural. Like, I would love, and I've offered, hold on, you just never know. I'm way far away from the ambulance, but it's so much that happens in Cincinnati. There's ambulance coming. Okay. But I've even offered, and believe me, and I've even prayed and even asked in this, but I would love for a pastor to say, you know what, instead of Tuesday Bible class, we're going to have a suicide prevention workshop. You know, sometimes we always say the real work is done outside of the four walls, right? We have to be, okay, then there's work being done out here. So how are you incorporating with bringing in the work that's being done into, okay, how does that fit our goals and our mission as a church? Just like, and praise the Lord, Pastor Shirley Kyle, that is my cousin. Our Apostle Kyle. Yes, she had been there. She can give you personal testimonies on my life. She said, my son's 15-year-old friend committed suicide on Tuesday. Yes. Wow. See, it's that real. It is that real. This is happening. And the church needs to get involved as well to say, we will allow you to come in. Let's learn some techniques, because we're teaching. A lot of times we think, like, I'm a communicator. I thought I was going to get my master's in English. I only have 6 months to do that. But I rethought that. I said, when I go back, it's going to be communication, because I'm all about communicating. But when I started studying, a lot of what we do, we don't really communicate well.
Right.
We don't, even as parents, when a child is telling us, I'm tired, I don't want to go to school, we get so, oh, you're not about to skip school. I'm not about to keep you home for nothing. What is the real cause of that?
Right.
Let's talk to the child. Does your child have an opportunity to say, for real, Mom, I need a mental health day? Mm-hmm. Like, I don't care if you take my phone. I'm not sitting here and going through this. I want to read. She said, come to Dominion Life anytime. We have done domestic violence seminars. Yes, I'm open to it. I believe in outside. Yes, thank you. I knew, look, if anyone, she would do it. I'm taking you up on that. I will be giving you a call, because we want to do that. We want to teach people how to communicate with their kids, how to use their body language. A lot of times we're using language like, you can't talk to us. Our body says, don't tell us you feel suicidal. So of course, the child is not going to do it.
Right.
So we're just trying to cover all our bases, because we know it's so much. It's so much now.
It is. and I hope that everybody who's watching this will open their doors. I know there's a lot of people in their church now that's they have their own business in mental health, because they know how real this is. I went to school, got a certificate in drug addiction counseling, and I got a certificate in criminal justice, and it's still connected both ways. And so I don't know how God is going to work that out for me to help, but I don't mind help.
Divine connections. Every connection has been so divine. I mean, I sat and talked to someone who was connecting me, because we're trying to get grants too. Because, anytime you're doing something on this big of a level, you're talking about bringing 5 presenters in to do it. There's an expense. There's a cost. They're taking off work, all of that. And I'm trying to get some grant funding. And this particular person, he's doing writing a book on suicide. I said, see, God, he didn't know my plans. I didn't know his plans, but God knew both plans. And it's just working hand in hand. So if you feel led in any way, call me. My number's everywhere, but I'm going to say it again. It's 513-344-0870. And my real name is Monica, for those who know me as Monica, but most people know me as Mopoetry Phillips. I'm right here in Cincinnati, Ohio, and I want to start a movement. I want it to be where this nonverbal tool is being given out by psychiatrist offices, that when they're talking to parents and they're talking about suicide, that they're not only giving them a safety plan for what to do, you know, if they feel suicidal and who to call and all of that, but they're saying, okay, we need you to use this nonverbal tool so that you can be more aware of what's going on with your child. Because sometimes we can't get it out. We can't get the words out. I felt suicidal after my going through divorce and, you know, domestic violence and everything. Whew, it's in my book. You can get that too. I put a shameless plug in. It equals greatness, but it details, you know, my situation and how I got there.
Mm-hmm.
And then once I realized that, even in doing programming for this, I realized there were other times in my life where I felt the same way and I thought life was good. But once you start reflecting on, like, okay, well, I was smoking marijuana because what? I was drinking at a very young age when kids in school. So sometimes we're looking at the problems our kids are going through. Oh, they just picked up these habits and all of that. And we're not looking at, it's a call, it's a red flag saying they are struggling with suicide ideation and they're trying to self-medicate through whatever. So come to us. We want to talk to the kids for sure. And I'll just be real about some of the things we do. We open up because we are separate from the parents. We want to hear from the kids.
Yep.
We want to hear what is your problems with communicating with your parents, if you have any. You're in a safe space. Let's talk about it. Because they don't have to worry about us being judgmental. I don't have to be like, well, if my daughter said that or if my son. No, we want to hear you. We want to hear you out so that we can work through those and see how that fits in. We've role played, we've gotten feedback from so many people, and it all seems to fit into these 6 categories about communication.
Yeah.
And if we can just get over some of the things that we're doing and learning to love on each other, and it takes healing. This is a healing work.
Yeah.
It truly is. It's showing you, you know, especially when you're dealing with trauma, that's continual journeys. Like, even if I see God's presence being manifested in my life, he's doing great things or whatever. Just like my situation of domestic violence happened over 10 years ago. I started going through PTSD 2 years ago. Had never really dealt with it, but it was something that was a trigger. Actually, my son's voice, as he got to be older and his voice dropped, I immediately recognized I was having dreams. I was going through, you know, all the active signs of PTSD because he was a reminder. He sound like, you know, and then I'm living in the house still where it happened. So all that was being re-triggered. So I didn't feel safe anymore, even in my own home. And I had to start, and I'm still in counseling. And probably I will continue to be, because I love to talk about it. And it's not just all I'm coming in complaining about things. I tell her about wins. She knows about this program. She knows about the work that went into doing this. You know, counseling is a good, safe space. It's like having a friend that won't tell your other friend what's going on with your life. That's the definition of counseling. So if you want that type friend, check in.
And we got to understand too, in the early 2000s, a lot of parents was on this drugs and went to jail, or some died, and grandparents is raising these children, and it's hard on the grandparents because, you know, they thought they was going to party when they get a certain age. Now they have to buckle down and raise their grandchildren. And so the grandchildren are upset because they don't have their parents. So, and when I'm in a classroom and I'm telling people, I said, quit dismissing children because they got feelings. I don't care if they 5 or 6 years old, they have feelings. Because the last school I was at, I have first graders who have already lost their parents to drugs. I had I was just talking about this real innocent story about strangers. Don't talk to strangers. And this little girl just started talking how she got raped. She was only in the 2nd grade. And she's telling her whole business to the whole class. And I'm sitting there like this. So we have to allow children to talk without them feeling so bad that they shut down and say, okay, let me be quiet. So she was talking, but inside I was like, Lord. But I said, okay, baby, because she was really going detail. I said, okay, we can't talk about that, okay? I said, I called somebody and told them to come get my class, take them outside, and I talked to her one-on-one because she was going in detail, like, and I was like, the whole class don't need to hear all that. I mean, I know it was trauma for her, but she was ready to just, tell everything. And I said, oh my Lord, I said, this baby only 6 years old.
Yes, that's because we do not have safe spaces. Where's the safe space that a child can say that without being with CPS and Child Protective Services or whatever? But, that's why the arts is being used in such a powerful way, because just like our company, we are creating safe spaces and we're unlocking marginalized voices through empowerment and educational workshops. So, that is our goal. We want to have a place where adults and kids can talk about what they went through. And even to kind of touch back on what you said about, being a grandparent. Now you've experienced something, maybe there was drug use or whatever. Now I'm raising a child. What you're really saying is that grandparent has gone through seeing some community violence there. There's been drug use, there's probably been domestic violence, there's been all kind of stuff spiraling out of control, right? And they have a secondary trauma because of what they're enduring. And now they have a child that they have to raise. When my kids are grown. I have a 15-year-old, that's the youngest. And start all over, I couldn't imagine having a 1-year-old or 2-year-old or 3-year-old or whatever age that I'm taking care of on that level, where I have to drop you off to daycare and I have to, you can't fix a sandwich, I gotta cook for you every single day. That's a lot. That's a lot on us. And as caregivers, we die before the people that we care for a lot of times. So we have to watch, even with those relationships, that our health isn't dwindling faster because now we're caregiving for other people. So all of us need to talk. We need to be real, and let's do it. I'm the type of person, if I can't find it anywhere, that means I have to create it.
Mm-hmm.
That's I was taught ex nihilo, out of nothing God created. And I believe that with my whole fiber and my being. It's like we have that same power, that out of nothing, even when you don't see it, that we have power to create. I'm going to continue to create. And I thank God I got some good announcements. I'll tell you, I'm going to inbox you. I can't make the whole announcement to everybody right now. But God has blessed. He's taken us in another direction. And I have a good announcement to make very shortly. But he's opening the door. Okay, sorry. I had a phone on mute, but when it rung, it went mute all the way. Can you repeat what you just said? Yeah. Could you hear the last part about my announcement?
No.
Okay. What I was saying was I have a very big announcement to make pretty soon. Once it can go public and all of that, I'll make that. I'll be inboxing you because you're my friend. I appreciate all the help, all the word. You're actually, when I step foot into a church now today, I think of you. I think of that there are people that I may not be where they think I should be, or I might not be as far along as they want me to be, but they still love me, and they still realize the value of what God is doing in my life. They can see, and I'm just appreciative. But yeah, but what I was saying was, if we don't see something, we have power to create. So I was taught ex nihilo, that out of nothing God created. So we have to create in that same way. We can't keep complaining. Oh, they don't have this. They don't have that. They don't have a space for this. Okay, well, what have you done to create the space? They don't have a program for this. Well, what have you done to try to create that program? Because until you take accountability and you say, okay, I'm going to go to God, I'm going to pray, I'm going to ask for wisdom. He said, if any lack wisdom, do what? Let him ask to God.
That's
so I'm
right.
going to God. I'm asking him, how do I do this? Yes. I know. What? We call it. I'm on live. Pay attention to Facebook. And thank you. Hello, Desiree. I see William Andrews. I see quite a few people have tuned in, and I know a lot of people will get the recap video, but I really thank you, Pastor Lucas, for, you wanted to talk about this program that is rolling out. So again, for those who just tuning in, call me 513-344-0870. If you want it in your church, organization, or whatever, to go through a very good trauma-informed suicide prevention program. Let's do it. Let's get it done.
That's
so
right.
make this happen. Yeah.
Thank you for letting me be a part of this. So wherever I can do.
I appreciate you so much. Y'all just stay tuned. Make sure that you like our pages. You have Regal Rhythms Poetry LLC that's on Facebook and Instagram. You have Arts Equity Collective is out there on Facebook. Visit our web pages. You can see what we've been doing these last 4 years. And I just like to shout out. I tell people, some people are like, the team is me. No, it's not. There is a team of people working, and I won't name everybody, but the main team that's on the team I want to name is October and Jessica with Break Chains, Make Changes. There's Montre the Poet. There's Victoria Cipriani. My mother is always, she's so close to my team. I'll forget to name her and be like, how I forget to name her? You're doing the most. So I have to name my mama, Cherie Phillips. She is not just a songstress and a poet. She does a lot for us behind the scenes. Everything that I'm get myself into that I'm like, Mom, I don't know how I'm gonna make this work. Can you do? She's right there with me doing a lot. So there's so many people that are involved. And then with Arts Equity Collective on the board, there's Demontre the Poet, and then Captain Fields, as I said, with Heroes Are Forever. So we're doing the work. Visit our website, Hit the Mike Cincy, CINCY.com, or artsequitycollective.org is our nonprofit. And we appreciate all of our sponsors. We've had sponsors for everything from, we work with domestic violence, doing the Survivors Ball every single year. I still shout out Marison Foundation, Women Helping Women, Tri-State Trauma Network, Hamilton County Recovery Center, like all the people who just gave private donations to make some of this work happen. That's what it's going to take. Like even if you can't be actively part of the team or part of creating it, supporting it financially when you know where the money is going and you know what is happening is where it is. Because we want to be able to do this for free as much as we can. And then that's what I'm looking for. And if you know information about grants that will help us be able to fund this and get in these schools for free, please help us. Because we kept the fee very, very low as we can for 5 presenters, 2.5 hours. But I want to see it done in our community for free. So that's why we got to get it off the ground, do it, and then it's coming. I just had a meeting yesterday. It is definitely coming to your school. So thank you again. I love you, love you, love you.
I love you too. I'm so proud of you.
I appreciate you. Yes. And just ask yourself, they always say, just even pitching any type of business, you're supposed to put a call out. This is like, you don't just put it out there and say, we've been doing, there's a call. So I am calling to each and every one of you. Sit down and talk to your children. Sit down and talk to your husband, your wives. talk to your friends, make a phone call today and literally ask them, how are you doing? Don't just say, I'm cool, bless God, I'm blessed and highly favored. I want to really know, how are you doing? How are you coping? How are you handling today? Is everything okay? Just one person, because you never know who we may call that day. Nobody knew, just like Ellen DeGeneres' DJ. Nobody knew when he was on Facebook and all of that and doing all of that. And then the next day, hold on, somebody's passing by. They didn't know that he was going to commit suicide. But actually, people get a boost of energy. They actually look like they're better, that they're not dealing with mental health issues a lot of times right before they commit suicide, because it's already resolved in their mind that that's what they're going to do. And it has given them peace in a certain sense. So make sure that even if it's that, check on your well friends, check on your good friends, the one that's smiling, the one that's always helping. That's probably one of the ones that are struggling with suicide ideation.
Well, I'm just so excited. Everybody get involved. If you
Yes.
can't get involved, like she said, if you can't be there physically, try to be there financially.
Yes.
So I just
Yes.
thank you. Everybody get
Thank
involved.
you.
And I appreciate you so much. Thank you so much.
All righty. We'll talk to you soon. I will be keeping you all posted and let you know about our next moves and where we are and what we're doing. There's several calls coming back and forth from different organizations, so it should be happening very, very soon. Today was our official rollout date, so I'm glad that we're ready. Yes. Thank you. You take care.
You too. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye.